Wendy Brown's Manhood in Politics, a feminist reading in political theory, was published in 1988. In her book, she argues that politics has historically been a male-dominated realm, characterized by a distinctly masculine and exclusive nature. Drawing from the works of Aristotle, Machiavelli, and Max Weber, Brown examines the intricate relationship between masculinity and politics in political theory. She critiques approaches that merely highlight the exclusion of women or marginalized practices from political life, without fundamentally challenging the inherent characteristics of politics itself. According to Brown, Aristotle, Machiavelli, and Weber all endorse conceptions of politics that necessitate the rejection or transcendence of nature, the body, and the realm of necessity, in order to preserve the purity of the political domain. Aristotle posits that human nature is inherently political, but the polis is a social construct, reliant on the labor of slaves, women, and artisans, the very activities that sustain its existence. Even the idealization of the body as a manifestation of beauty or power subordinates the realm of necessity, as individuals impose the rational aspect of their souls onto their physical selves, wielding their bodies as instruments of the mind. For both Aristotle and Machiavelli, the pursuit of political superiority and the defeat of rival claims are central to manhood in politics. Alienated men seek honor to validate their self-worth, the immortality of their actions, and even the reality of their own existence. Machiavelli emphasizes that politics arises when there is something to conquer, overcome, ambush, or resist, even if the necessity for such conflicts must be artificially created to awaken citizens' virtuous qualities. Brown observes irony in the identification of politics with control, as power is generated through interdependent relations, undermining its own pursuit of independence. She also examines Max Weber's perspective, which seeks a political aesthetic centered on power, prestige, national glory, and heroic leadership. However, Weber's vision becomes detached from substantive concerns regarding justice and the well-being of the political body. The capitalist economy and bureaucratic state, initially intended as means to achieve state power, eventually become ends in themselves, with bureaucracy predominating as the primary form of state power. Weber looks to charismatic heroes to revive the virtues of political action, emphasizing their indifference to mundane demands and their devotion to extraordinary acts. Yet, even the politician's dedication to the state becomes a devotion to an instrument that has lost sight of its original purpose. In her final chapters, Brown explores visions of a post-masculinist politics, emphasizing that the willingness to risk death signifies a rejection of life as a fundamental value. She critiques even the welfare state, noting that it invokes the language of heroism and the sacrifice of life for empty causes. However, she avoids providing simplistic solutions. While some theorists aim to transcend the body while associating male values with universal human values, and others seek to replace masculine values with feminine ones in the public sphere, Brown questions such approaches, since all gender is socially constructed. Rather than glorifying nature, Brown suggests that true freedom can be found by constructing conditions that allow us to engage with and transform necessity, rather than trying to overcome it. She briefly outlines alternative approaches to freedom that involve struggle and conflict, but not in an attempt to control or dominate necessity. Instead, it is a struggle to discover possibilities within necessity and to transform ourselves and our relationship with the necessary. Brown's book is provocative and significant, not only for its analysis of the relationship between manhood and politics, but also for its examination of what politics includes. Rather than solely focusing on exclusions, she alludes to the concept of the common good, suggesting that the aesthetic of power is at odds with a politics driven by a pursuit of the common good. This may be due to the separation of politics from the realm of necessity. However, proponents of the civic republican tradition, like Pocock, argue that private ambition differs from the pursuit of the public good not in terms of their objects, but in the concern for others' recognition that characterizes the latter. It remains unclear whether Brown defines the common good solely based on its subject matter, namely necessity, or if attention to it can be identified by the motivations of citizens and leaders, even though the latter is harder to define. If an aesthetic of power indeed hinders the pursuit of the common good by obscuring class divisions, Brown should make this explicit.